please stand for the flag salute? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome to the board meeting scheduled for Thursday, December 12th. In accordance with the requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act, I wish to announce that the New Jersey Open Public Meeting Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meeting of bodies at which any business affecting their interest is discussed or acted upon. Notices announcing the date, time, and place for this meeting were sent to all concerned individuals, associations, and sent to Union County local source in accordance with Chapter 231 of Public Law 1975. For the roll, Ms. Stanton? Here. Mr. Mahecha? Here. Ms. Kelly? Here. Ms. Erde? Here. Thank you very much. Mr. Cho? Here. Vice President Cohen? Here. President Justice? Here. You have a quorum.
Thank you. And with that, we will move on to our presentations. Tonight we have staff commendation and the Summit Educational Foundation Fall 2024 grants.
Okay.
Give the board a chance to take their seats. Welcome, everyone, this evening, and happy holidays. Go there. So every once in a while, something very special happens, and as a board and as a community, we like to recognize an individual or individuals that go above and beyond. And at this time, I'm going to call Nicole Johnson up and Shane Ziegler with me, as well as Faye. Please join me up here at the podium, and Ms. Walida Justice as board president. Nicole Johnson is the school nurse at Brayton Elementary School. We all know it takes a very special person to be a school nurse. Every day, events of the unknown, dealing with child ailments, putting your training to the test on every single day. And it's probably one of the most busiest places in a school building. It takes an extra special person to go above and beyond your daily duties in the school setting and help someone in crisis outside and save a life. And that's exactly what Nicole did. When Faye, sitting on a park bench next to the playground at Brayton Elementary School, collapsed and had a heart attack, Nicole let her training kick in, ran out to him with a defibrillator and saved his life. That's why we're here to recognize you tonight, to go above and beyond. It's a very, very special person. Before we recognize Nicole, I'm going to turn it over to Principal Ziegler.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much. I just want to start by saying when I was younger and I had to go to the school nurse, it was a very basic activity, you know, skin knee, here's a Band-Aid, off you go. Upset stomach, drink some water, you'll be fine. And, you know, sore throat, gargle with some salt water and head back to class. Just off you go. The students at Brayton do not have that experience with Nicole Johnson. She's warm, she's caring, she greets every child by name with a smile, happy to see them. She loves those kids and they know it. They love her because she has a smile. And half the time I'm like, wait, I don't think I know that kid. She's no. That's that child, this is her cousin. She knows all of them. So Nurse Johnson doesn't just show how she cares for students. If you are a person in her path, she is going to help you. It is going to happen. She's going to just kick in. And as she did on October 2nd for Mr. Fay. It just so happened that our PE teacher, Paul Fesak, was taking his class outside for an activity. Things just kind of work in the universe. Before he made it to Memorial Field, he saw people gathering on the basketball court, and they called out that someone had collapsed. And his very first thought was to get Nicole. So without even thinking about it, Nicole ran out, found out what was happening, assessed the situation. She wants to give credit to everybody else, but she took charge because that's what she does. She ran back to the school after she saw what happened, got the AED, ran back out in her picture day outfit. It was picture day. She was completely dressed. She zoomed off and then went back at it. So just so you know, when the AED is removed from the cabin on the wall, An alarm goes off, which immediately sent me and Carolyn Polito, my secretary, running out to figure out, wait, what's going on? But before we even had a chance, she was out, she was gone. I look outside and there's Nicole running into Memorial Field, just taking care of business. So by the time she got there, Nicole told me, she had the CPR was already being started. She put on the AED, she managed the airway, she gave the shocks. It was our very own Nicole Johnson, the Summit Police Department, and the EMTs working together to save Mr. Fay. Nicole took charge, told Mr. Fessock to run back into the building to bring her the ambu bag. She always makes sure I have the right vocabulary, so I'm sorry if I don't. And she advised that Mr. Fay should be taken to the hospital. And just so you know, every single one of us, we were just sitting there like, whatever Nicole tells us to do, we're doing it. So that's it. Get out of the way. Take the kids. Watch this. We're like, we got it. We'll do it. Whatever she says. She took charge. She watched the ambulance leave and then just came back into the building, back to work. Like, okay, back in her office. And we're like, this was kind of amazing. She's like, oh, yeah, I really hope he's okay. I hope. And that's what she was thinking about. Whereas Carol and I are like, this is a big deal. She's like, yeah, everything's okay. It was a good day. So she did all this so she could just save someone's life and just had a wonderful day. And that really shows the kind of person that Nicole Johnson is and why we are so proud of her and so thankful for her. Mr. Fay and his family found Nicole about a month later, came to thank her, and let her know that he was alive. And we're so happy to hear that. We are really happy to hear that. Because I know Nicole was trying to find out. I know she was calling the police department to find out how he was, to see if he was okay. She really does care. So I just want you all to know, I am really privileged to share this story with you so that people who aren't fortunate enough to know Nurse Johnson personally can get a glimpse of the kind of person that she is and how she cares not only for your children, but for people in general. So I just ask you to join me in recognizing Nicole Johnson for her life-saving efforts, and we truly thank you for all that you do. Thank you. Oh my goodness. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So for our scheduled presentation, SEF comes twice a year, but you got a tough act to follow this time. You really do. You really do. You're always bringing cheer and good news. But all kidding aside, so much of what we do, we couldn't do without the SEF, and it's for many, many years, and all the hard work and dedication and volunteerism from the parents and everybody associated with the SEF. So we truly appreciate it on behalf of the board and the administration and the teachers. So I'd like to ask Jelly Donnelly and Susan Daniels to come on up.
Hi, my name is Susan Daniel. My name is Susan Daniel, and along with my partner, Shelley Donnelly, it has been our pleasure to lead the SEF grants effort this year. We just finished up our fall 2024 grant cycle, and we are excited to be here tonight to share the results with you on behalf of the Summit Educational Foundation. Along with our grants committees and the SEF board, we have closely reviewed and approved 34 grants this cycle, for a total of $175,929. These 34 grants are spread across all 9 of our schools and include a wide range of categories. And we have a check. Before our grants presentation, I would like to recognize the many partnerships that contribute to SEF's continued success. First, I would like to thank our superintendent, Scott Huff, Director of Curriculum, Heather Rocco, Supervisor of Technology, Doug Orr, and Business Administrator, Derek Jess. This group provides a pivotal partnership in the initial reviewing of grants applications as we assure that each grant aligns with SEF's mission while supporting the district's goals. I would also like to acknowledge this year's SEF co-presidents, Heather Thomas and Melissa Madden, introduce our new Assistant Grants Chair, Laura Lamio, and also Shelley Donnelly, who's Grants Review, and of course, the entire SEF Board and Grants Committee members. Thank you for all of your time, endless help, and dedication. We would also like to thank our teachers and administrators. We know that none of this happens without them. Their dedication to our students is represented in the creative and innovative grants they submit year after year. And finally, we'd like to recognize and thank the families and Greater Summit community for their continued financial support that makes all this possible. The SEF is extremely proud to be involved in these partnerships, working together to continue our mission of supporting the district's curriculum and goals. So thank you to everybody. The 34 grants in the spring cycle are spread across all of our schools. Tonight, we'll be presenting the grants to align with the district goals. First, we'll start with the social and emotional learning and culturally inclusive programming grants that align with the district's first goal. Next, we'll cover the Learning Through Innovation and Language Arts Focus grants. These grants are tied to the district's second goal. Goal number 3 is where we will discuss our STEAM grants that include experiences for all students in the areas of science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. The district's STEAM curriculum prepares our students for future opportunities in a dynamic global landscape. And finally, we'll present some of the learning environment grants. Now let's take a closer look at the grants that we've approved for this cycle. We'll start off with the social and emotional learning grants. In this category, we have 8 grants totaling over $27,000. These grants teach critical life skills for building confidence, problem solving, having healthy relationships, and respecting others. SEF will fund 2 book grants in this category. Learning to Get Along provides 9 sets of books to be used in kindergarten classrooms to help teach the kids important social skills. Dignity books are a collection of books to assist in teaching students of all ages at Washington School about the elements of dignity. In another grant, Washington School will be continuing to use a digital platform called Give Thanks. This provides an additional tool for teachers to foster their students' sense of value and well-being among their peers through the use of digital notes of gratitude. SEF will also be continuing its support of therapy dogs in the district with the recertification of Shelby as an in-house therapy dog. Also in the category of social and emotional learning, SEF is happy to fund 2 important assemblies at the middle school. Through a captivating one-man presentation, Dr. Mikey Fowlin will guide participants on a transformative journey to re-examine ingrained societal norms that often suppress expression and understanding. In the Generation Text Assembly, former Summit Juvenile Detective Sergeant Rich will cover topics such as app use, safety controls on devices, location tracking, and cyberbullying. SEF is happy to continue to fund the executive functioning courses at the middle school. These courses cover critical skills such as organization, active listening, study skills, and time management. In our final grant in the social and emotional learning category, SEF will fund at-risk student mentoring at the middle school, providing stipends for teachers to mentor students through one-on-one sessions and group activities. Also aligned with the district's first goal are the culturally inclusive programming in our schools. This spring, we have 5 awards in this category totaling more than $10,000. Those grants include equity and anti-bias training for staff at Brayton through the viewing and discussion of the film Race to be Human. SEF will also be funding a repeat of the successful flamenco dancing grant, which provides an authentic flamenco performance for 8th grade Spanish students. Also in the culturally inclusive category, SEF will be funding the purchase of more diverse puppets for skits, projects, and spontaneous language practice in all world language classrooms in the middle school. Continuing in the category of culturally inclusive programming, SEF will be funding the purchase of a variety of books for the middle school library written in Russian, Chinese, Ukrainian, and Spanish. These will offer more choices for independent reading for ELL students. SEF will also fund the performance of a steel drum band at the middle school's very popular multicultural night. Moving on to the district's second goal and the Learning Through Innovation category. Through this grant, SEF will purchase additional probeware, software, and lab equipment for the physics classrooms so that all students can measure real-time motion and force experiments with their Chromebooks and see college-level physics demonstrations in school. Next, we move on to the language arts grants. This fall, we have 4 grants in this category for a total of over $29,000. The first grant is a district-wide grant. Author Candace Fleming will visit all district schools over the course of 1 week, holding assemblies in the primary, elementary, and middle schools, and meeting with the creative writing classes at the high school. SEF will also be funding a collection of Wonder Books, which consists of books and audio recordings for 2 kindergarten classrooms at Wilson. Continuing with our last 2 grants in the language arts category, SEF will be funding 2 literacy tools, one to help the second graders at Jefferson improve reading rate and accuracy, and the second to support the learning of phonics skills consistent with the science of reading among resource room and LLD students at Brayton. Now I'll hand over to Shelley to walk you through some of the remaining grants.
I guess I do need them. That's okay. Okay, now we're going to move on to the district's third goal and our STEAM category. SEF has funded many successful STEAM grants for the district, including the STEAM Innovation Labs at the elementary schools in 2022. And during our spring 2024 cycle, SEF awarded a grant to fund 2 new STEAM teachers at the middle school for their new design innovation class and theater technology and film class. We are happy to see the support of the district STEAM initiative continue with 7 STEAM grants totaling over $44,000. This cycle, we are proud to support Tech Explorers, a family night of discovery. SEF will fund teacher stipends for a kindergarten technology family night at both primary centers. Through hands-on interactions, families will explore technology, integration, coding, robotics, and digital citizenship. Additionally, SEF will fund the STEAM Challenge, Ramps to Innovation. This challenge will involve our 5th graders and high school tech ed students. In this challenge, 5th grade students across all 5 elementary schools will participate in building and racing cars. What makes it special is the proposed collaboration between the high school tech ed students and our 5th grade students. At Franklin Elementary, SEF will fund 2 composting machines. The Franklin Garden Club will use the machines to compost organic waste from the school lunchroom, which will then be used in their school garden. Another STEAM grant we are proud to award is the Theater Technology Equipment Grant. This grant will purchase new lighting and sound equipment to support the elementary theater program at all 5 of our elementary schools. It is directly connected to the district's ongoing STEAM education. It will allow all of our elementary schools equal access to equipment and to pursue additional enrichment activities that support the growing interest in theater design and technology. Also in our STEAM category is the Project Trio Assemblies. This grant will provide students in grades 1 through 5 at all of our elementary schools with a dynamic and innovative musical experience through assemblies and workshops. Project Trio is a fusion of classical, jazz, hip hop, and world music. Additional STEAM grants this cycle include a return visit from musician Rolando Morales to the Summit High School, Morales will conduct a workshop and perform live music at the school carnival, enriching students' cultural and musical experiences. Also at the high school, students in ceramics and studio art and design classes will be introduced to the ancient Japanese ceramic firing technique known as reiku. In our final category, we have approved 9 learning environment grants totaling over $57,000. Grants in the learning environment category include both classroom furniture and other equipment to enhance the learning space. Some of our learning environment grants this cycle include poster printers for Franklin Elementary and LCJ SMS, Juno FM systems with pass-around mics for 5 classrooms here at the middle school, and inclusive essentials for Washington Elementary. We are happy to support the inclusion pilot at Washington by awarding a grant for sensory items and other integration tools to ensure student success in the inclusive environment. And this fall, SCF will also fund flexible seating for ESL classrooms at the primary centers, standing desks and stools for first grade classrooms at Jefferson, and also at Jefferson, ergonomic chairs and rugs for second grade classrooms. At Brayton, we are funding cozy reading corners in their second grade classrooms, and 1 fifth grade classroom at Lincoln Hubbard will receive movable desks and chairs. As you can see from the wide range of approved grants across all of our schools, Summit's teachers and administrators have once again found innovative and creative ways to enhance the education of our students and support the district's curriculum and goals. Including this current grant cycle, SCF has funded more than 2,000 grants, totaling over $11.3 million. These funds go directly to our school and ultimately to our students. We should be proud of this. We're looking forward to continuing our partnership with both the Summit community and the Summit School District, creating possible for years to come. Again, we are pleased to announce Summit Education Foundation is awarding $175,929 to Summit Public Schools for the fall 2024 grant cycle. Thank you. Big check? Sure.
Big check.
Big check. Okay.
Okay.
Thanks so much. Again, please, one more round of applause for all their generosity. Thank you so much.
May I have a motion to approve the Summit Educational Foundation Fall 2024 grants in the amount of $175,929?
Any discussion?
Is the vote to approve all the grants or none of the grants? It's all or nothing?
Did you hear the question?
Hello?
Yes, it's to approve all or nothing, yes.
Okay. For the SEL, is the ability for us to see more detail as to the content of the SEL part of the grant? Because this is the first I see them, so I'm just asking.
The process hasn't really followed that pattern, Mr. Maheka, and many of these grants have been approved in the past. I don't know that any of them are even new from this cycle, right?
Right, yeah, I haven't been here in the past. I'm just talking about currently. This is the first listing of the grants, which is outstanding. I thank SEF. But if there are questions as to specific content, there doesn't seem to be enough time to see it between presentation and now. So I was asking if the vote is all or nothing. Like, for example, in the SEL piece, I'd be interested in seeing the content of what the SEL books are.
Well, I would say if you would, you can choose to abstain for the vote.
Yeah, I'm aware of where I can choose. I'm just asking for the answer. So
Right.
it's all or nothing, right? That's the.
That
Yes,
is correct.
that would be all or nothing. And with regards to the grants, that is part of the administration of the district. And that's not really a function of the board. The board will vote to accept the grants or to not accept the grants, but the review of the grants, the information provided in exchange between the SEF and the district falls under the administration of the district. And so that's not something that is under the board's purview.
Thank you. But it is asking for the vote, for my vote.
Correct, it is. And based upon the presentation this evening, that's, and what the information was provided, that's how the vote would go.
Thank you. So just for in the future, I'd say for consideration that either the grants are given, the board are given the opportunity to view the questions of the grants ahead of time, or that we're able to vote for them separately. Thank you.
Is there any other discussion? Seeing none. Ms. Stanton?
Yes.
Mr. Maecha?
Abstain?
Ms. Kelly?
Yes.
Ms. Erde? Mr. Cho?
Yes.
Vice President Cohen?
Yes.
President Justice?
Yes.
Motion carries 601.
Okay. No, after this, yes. You're going to do your.
Okay, with that, I will give the president's announcements. Good evening, everyone. First of all, I want to thank SEF for the wonderful grant cycle again this fall 2024. We appreciate the continued partnership. We appreciate what you all bring to it, what the school district brings to it, and what the community brings. So thank you all for your efforts. We are very appreciative of the grants again this year. Secondly, I would like to discuss our strategic planning process, and I'd like to start by giving a little window into my world as a school administrator. This is the fourth time that I've been able to participate in a strategic planning process, and I am very excited at this opportunity to work with the Summit School District on this on behalf of the board. Part of why I'm excited is that it really is an opportunity for the community as a whole to sort of look towards the vision of what this district could be for generations to come. That is a hefty responsibility that actually involves each and every stakeholder. So I truly hope that people will fully engage in the process, and at any time that we ask for your feedback, that you will sincerely take time to think about the ways in which we could make this an even better district for students who come in future years. With that, I wanted to give you some progress on the strategic planning process so far. The district hosted a strategic planning general session back in October. The Madison Institute provided background information on the strategic planning process and facilitated the discussion for around 100 participants of current strengths and potential weaknesses of the district. Part of the process is to create a core team consisting of representatives from different stakeholder groups and expertise across all of the divisions. The core team is broken down further into different focus groups. These groups include the following: community and culture, teaching and learning, safety and wellness, leadership and governance, and finance and facilities. The core team had its first meeting together last week, and while I personally was not able to attend, the feedback I received from my fellow board members and district leadership was very positive. The Madison Institute did a wonderful job facilitating discussions in each group to collectively establish our core values and what we believe schools should stand for and offer. We value having different perspectives in the same room. So representatives from the administration, our principal, supervisor, parents, board members, and teachers have all been able to participate actively within the core team and this process. Our next steps include confirming our values, drafting our district mission, and beginning to explore our data sets. The largest collection of data comes from our stakeholder surveys, which were distributed Friday last week to teachers, staff, and parents. The district also made the survey available to Summit community members through Tap into Summit and the City of Summit's distribution channels. Community members can also find the survey on the district's strategic planning page. The link to the page is under the district tab on the district website. Students in grades 6 through 12 will also be provided with the link to complete the survey between tomorrow and December 20th. It's so important for our stakeholders to have their voice heard in this process because the vision and goals that come out of this process will serve as a guiding light for the future of our schools. This impacts current and future students, families, and staff members, as well as the Summit community at large. We encourage you to take a few minutes to complete the survey, which will be available until Friday, December 20th. In closing, on behalf of the board, I'd like to wish everyone a very happy holiday season. I hope that we all get a wonderful break, and who knows, maybe we will have some snow in the forecast, but I'm going to hope that that's closer to the holiday. Thank you.
Thank you, President Justice. As you know, I'd like to begin my report by welcoming our new hires to the Summit Public School team, and I'm going to do so now. So when I call your name, please stand up so the board can put a face to the name. First, we have Tony Dominguez, physical education teacher, Summit High School. Matthew Lamb, social studies teacher, Summit High School. McKenna Landry, biology teacher, Summit High School. And David Leventhal, special education teacher, Summit High School. Congratulations, and we look forward to your contributions. Now we're going to call for the vote, and then we're going to do a break.
May I have a motion for our new hires?
Any discussion? Ms. Stanton? Yes. Mr. Miecha?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly? Yes. Ms. Erde? Yes. Mr. Cho?
Yes.
Vice President Cohen?
Yes.
President Justice?
Yes.
Motion carries.
So as we typically do, we take a 2-minute recess at this point for anyone who doesn't feel like staying for the remainder of the meeting.
Nice meeting you.
Are we waiting for it to get? Oh, wait. Yes, we're still in recess. There's plenty of it down there. Is he also have the technology?
Yeah, he said. I got it. I'll get a couple.
Okay, continuing with my report, just an announcement about registration. Summit Public Schools will open online registration on Monday, December 16 for students who will be entering kindergarten or first grade in September 2025. Applications for the 25-26 pre-K program will be available Tuesday, December 17th, both online and on the district website, and may also be obtained in person at the primary centers during school hours. Information about the pre-K lottery and kindergarten registration will be shared publicly early next week. In the world of community service, Jefferson Elementary School Student Council organized a toy drive, and Brayton Elementary participated in Toys for Tots drive with the Summit Police Department. Jefferson Elementary and Washington Elementary students also made holiday cards and sang carols at Sage Elder Care and other centers. And at Lincoln Hubbard, fifth graders supported Meals on Wheels with non-perishable food donations, and Brayton students organized a Thanksgiving food drive. In holiday celebrations, Jefferson Elementary and Franklin Elementary had holiday shops where students purchased gifts for loved ones. And in the educational and leadership activities happenings in the district, Jefferson Elementary introduced a debate club to provide public speaking and critical thinking. Washington Elementary's Ole Ole Leadership Group did some caroling and spreading the holiday cheer. And Franklin Elementary first graders visited the Morristown Performing Arts Center to watch a live performance, while Brayton Elementary's fifth graders experienced BizTown for hands-on business learning. Lincoln Hubbard third graders collected school supplies and decorated growth mindset covers for donations for Homework for Helper Kids, which will be donated to Grace and Summit. Anti-bullying lessons are occurring both at Jefferson and Washington Elementary with the No Hate for Place pledge and No Place for Hate pledge, with Jefferson incorporating poems and visual displays, while Washington is teaching a lesson about using kind words. Summit Middle School. Peer leaders are organized a toy drive during which they collected nearly 200 toys. The proceeds will benefit both the Grace and Be the Change organizations in Newark. The Student Council and PTO helped support the food drive for the holidays, in which we collected enough food to support 40 Summit families who struggle with food insecurity. And on November 22nd and 23rd, the middle school students put on a production, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. The show was a huge success. Over 100 students participated in the production. The arts continue to flourish at the middle school. Summit High School, the staff of Summit High School yearbook, The Top, received 3 accommodations from the Garden State Scholastic Press Association for the 2024 edition in recognition of outstanding journalism in the statewide high school yearbook contest. The Top is published by the students in the yearbook, and the publication is elective under the guidance of a teacher and an advisor, Christine Reinhold. It's a year-long process and a labor of love for students to contribute to the historical record and legacy of Summit High School. In the world of arts, on November 24th, Summit High School Chamber Orchestra performed at the opening concert of the Lyrica Chamber Music in Chatham. In preparation for this concert, Lyrica Chamber Music musicians conducted a workshop and performed for students at Summit High School. The Summit High School Orchestra has a long-standing tradition and collaboration with the Lyrica Chamber Music. This annual event is generously sponsored by the Summit Music Parents Association. The Summit High School speech and debate team enjoyed yet another successful weekend at Randolph High School tournament on November 23rd with 36 finalists, 7 first-place wins, and second-place overall sweepstakes. And music concerts are happening this month. The Primary Center's annual sing-along featured music led by Ms. Meadows on the piano. Washington is holding 5th grade band, orchestra, and select chorus winter concert tonight, while other elementary schools concerts are lined up for next week. The middle and high school winter concerts took place earlier this week. And finally, I'd like to wish everyone a happy and healthy holiday season with family and friends. And schools will reopen on Thursday, January 2nd. Thank you. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Superintendent Huff. And now we will have our student board representative report from Matthew.
We need to vote on
Oh,
item B and C
my
before
apologies,
Matt
Matt.
takes over. Sorry, Matt.
One more item. Can I have a motion on the superintendent?
Hey, you guys are on top of it tonight. You're very boisterous. I'm happy to hear it. Thank you. That's very nice. Turn your microphone on. Is there any discussion? Ms. Stanton? Yes. Mr. Maecha?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes.
Ms. Erde?
Yes.
Mr. Cho?
Yes.
Vice President Cohen?
Yes.
President Justice?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
And Matthew, you can take it away.
Oh my God. Hi, happy holidays. I can never get the microphone right. Just a couple of updates before the winter recess begins. In terms of sports, all winter sports at the high school have begun. Practices and scrimmages are already underway and a lot of games have started. The first games will begin for boys varsity basketball on Thursday, the 19th against Scotch Plains Fanwood. Girls basketball varsity will have their first game on Thursday, the 19th at home against GL. Boys hockey has started strong as of last week with 2 opening wins and a tie on Thursday, and girls hockey varsity won 4-0 against Cranford yesterday. The Summit wrestling team will have their first tournament slated for Saturday the 14th, and the Summit swim team will have their first meet on Tuesday. In general, what's happening around school, Spirit Week will begin next week with a general holiday theme before the beginning of break. On Friday, we have our pep rally, which will be our last pep rally of the year, slated for all students midday. Where we will be trying a variety of new activities, relay races on inflatable beds, a lot of random fun things, everything people will enjoy. After our Hollapalooza event that took place last week, the juniors had won the best decorated hallway, contributing to school spirit and spirit points. And last night was the annual holiday concert for chorus and orchestra, which I heard went very well. In terms of Summit Student Council and peer leadership, peer leaders have completed now their 3rd delivery with the incoming middle school students who came here in a general period of trying to help them transfer into the high school and sort of understand the system. We had our 3rd meeting with them as of this month, and it's been going pretty well. The Student Council hosted its annual family holiday party on Sunday, hosting special guests like Olaf and a penguin from the North Pole for the kids. They all had a great time. And Student Council will be embarking on a field trip to TCNJ Conferences of Student Government in mid-January. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Matthew. And you are dismissed. Have a wonderful holiday.
All right, Matthew.
And our next item, are there any additions or revisions to the agenda?
Yes, President Justice, we have 2 revisions. Item number 9 on page 9, the date should be December 13th instead of December 16th. Item letter F on page 10, the per diem rate should be $865.89. And there are 10 additions, all under personnel, which are included on the addendum. And they are rather lengthy this evening, so I am not going to read them all, but I ask you to please consider approving them during the vote this evening.
Thank you. And with that, we will move to our committee reports, and we will start with the Education and Student Activity Services Committee.
The Education and Student Activities and Services Committee met on Wednesday, December 5th at 12 p.m. for a quick 20 minutes. Committee members in attendance were myself, board members Eileen Kelly and Jan Cho, Superintendent Scott Huff, Heather Rocco, Director of Curriculum and Instruction, board member Walida Justice, and unfortunately, Dr. Crystal Moore were both absent. The first thing we discussed was standardized testing dates. In the fall, an email was sent out to parents with a range of testing dates for the spring administration. Official testing dates have been finalized, and an additional email will be sent out to parents in January, confirming the specific testing dates in the spring at all grade levels. We then discussed the commendation for Nicole Johnson, nurse at Brayton Elementary School, which you heard about. But to recap, on Memorial Field, outside Memorial Field Playground, a gentleman appeared on a bench in distress, suffered a heart attack, and Brayton nurse Nicole Johnson immediately responded with a school defibrillator and resuscitated his heart while waiting for the paramedics. Following this unnerving event, the gentleman and his wife visited Brayton to thank Nurse Johnson, and tonight, obviously, we wanted to take a moment to commend her efforts as well for going above and beyond to help a Summit community member in need. Finally, we discussed a Columbia field trip for high school students. The district received a proposal for SHS students enrolled in Spanish to travel to Columbia in spring 2026 to reinforce their Spanish studies and fully immerse themselves in Columbia's culture and environment. And for tonight, our recommendation from the committee is to approve the SHS Spanish students to travel abroad to Columbia in spring 2026. Our next meeting date is Thursday, January 9th at 12 p.m. Any additions from the board members or questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Stanton. Our next committee is Operations.
Thank you. The Operations Committee met on Monday, December 2nd at 12 p.m. for approximately 60 minutes. Committee members in attendance included Superintendent Scott Huff, Business Administrator Derek Just, and Assistant Business Assistant Business Administrator Kathy Sarno, as well as board members Jan Cho, Melanie Cohn, and myself. Items discussed on this month's agenda included updates on various projects throughout the district, including at the Summit High School. Work will commence to install 4 speed humps across Weaver Street. The district's ownership on part of Weaver Street gave us the flexibility and accountability to ensure the safety of students, parents, and staff walking and driving in and out of the high school parking lot. After some architecture delays, Tatlock Fieldhouse bids will be released on January 14th. The business office also pulled together a bond project cost analysis to review all work completed thus far and remaining projected bid costs that are forthcoming. The business office was able to demonstrate favorability versus budgeted costs of approximately $2 million, primarily driven by lower than anticipated fees across testing, legal, and environmental expenses. A handful of projects still need to be completed, including Tatlock Field. So while we are optimistic to see this favorability, the business office indicated that the new year may bring higher than anticipated expenses in remaining project work. A food service update from Pomptonian. The monthly P&L as of October 24th was $21,345.76. We also reviewed the FY24 audit. The committee received a presentation and walkthrough from the Novicia audit team by Kathy Mantel and Caitlin Orton. The committee would like to commend the entire business office on a successful audit for the year ending on June 30th, 2024, as the audit team had no recommendations for the district. Prior year recommendations regarding student activity receipts not being deposited in a timely manner had been resolved in the current year, and the audit team spoke favorably of the business office's diligence across procedures, accounting, reporting, and other facets covered in the annual audit. For the FY25 budget, the committee discussed high-level timelines that are quickly approaching as we head into January. Currently, every school is completing their FY26 proposed budgets and submitting school budget requests documents to the business office. The Operations Committee will have a preliminary discussion regarding the FY26 budget during the January 6, 2025 Operations Committee meeting. In the interim, individual budget reviews are occurring between principals, directors, supervisors, and the business office and Superintendent Scott Huff. Key dates for the entire board and public to be mindful of include February 3rd, where the Operations Committee will review the initial budget and have a tax impact discussion. During the regular DO meeting scheduled on February 13th, the committee will report to the entire board on the tentative budget. And subsequent meetings in February throughout early March are all tentative, but for any board member that would like to review a draft calendar, committee recommendations at this time are the approval of the audit by management report entering ending June 30th, 2024, and our next meeting is scheduled for January 6th at 12 p.m. Any additions from committee members? Any questions from members of the board? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kelly. Next is Policy Committee.
The Policy Committee met on Wednesday, December 4th, and we met for approximately 20 minutes. The members in attendance were Kelly Stanton, Carlos Maecha, and myself, and from the administration, Scott Huff, Robert Gardella, and Kathleen Murphy. We discussed Regulation 2430, Co-Curricular Activities Internal Update. This internal update reviewed language updates as well as addressed attendance at district-sponsored co-curricular and after-school events to ensure the guidance aligns with Policy 5200. We also looked at Policy 2700, Services to Non-Public School Students, which was a revision to a mandated policy. Policy Guide 2700 has been revised to incorporate revisions in NJAC 6A16 regarding services to be provided to non-public schools. This update ensures the policy language is actually consistent with statute as well as our current practice. We then discussed Regulation 5200, internal update. I'm just going to go. It's going off, so I'll just yell at you. The internal update provides the district with the ability to require a doctor's note of clearance for students returning after extended absence, 5 or more consecutive days due to illness. Policy 8441, care of injured and ill persons, a mandatory policy revision. This revision is based on growing changes in first aid procedures and will provide for the school nurse in consultation with the school physician to review and update these procedures on a regular basis. In addition, this revision will permit the school district to address those injuries and illnesses that most frequently occur in the district and to provide first aid procedures approved by the school nurse and school physician. Committee recommendations is the first reading of Regulation 2430, P2700, Regulation 5200, and Policy 8441, and the second reading of Policy 8420. We are meeting next on Wednesday, January 8th, 2025, at 9:30 a.m. at the District Hall, and Happy New Year. Any questions about?
Thank you, Ms. Erde. Next will be communications.
The Communications Committee met on December the 3rd at 12 noon. The length of the meeting was about 20 minutes. We met online, and the board members in attendance were myself, Yon Cho, Carlos Mahecha, Superintendent Huff, cabinet members Lorraine Dickinson and Doug Orr. The first item on the agenda was the winter weather letter. Superintendent Huff discussed the annual winter weather letter, which provides information on weather-related school closings and how decisions are made, and it went out on December the 4th. He noted that days where closure is required due to snow will be added to the end of the school calendar, so hopefully those will happen during Christmas break, Lolita. Strategic planning survey communication was the next thing on our agenda. A notice will be sent out the first week of December to parents regarding the strategic planning survey, and that did go out. The survey will be disseminated widely, and that began on December 5th and 6th, and it's going to be remain open for 10 days. Stakeholder groups invited to participate include parents, students, teachers and support staff, non-certificated staff, and community members without children in the district. Parents will have the option to opt out their children from participating in the survey. The survey questions, originally developed by the Madison Institute, were refined by the administration to suit the community's needs. The committee asked to preview the survey questions prior to dissemination, and Superintendent Huff forwarded them to us after the meeting. The Madison Institute will compile and analyze the survey data after the survey period closes. Third on our agenda was standardized testing schedule letter. A letter was sent in the fall informing parents of the general New Jersey state testing window. A follow-up letter with specific dates for child's testings will be sent to parents in January 2025. Award for Summit Educator and Recruitment Expo website was the next item on our agenda. Summit Public Schools received the Best in Class Award of Excellence for the Summit Educator Recruitment Expo website in the website division at the NJSPRA's School Communication Awards. This award recognizes excellence in website content, design, functionality, and usability. Lorraine Dickinson was at that meeting and is now congratulated on her role in the website's design. Congratulations, Lorraine. The committee then discussed community feedback. The superintendent has been meeting with the PTO presidents every other month. Strategic planning was discussed at the November meeting. Future discussions will include topics such as Pomptonian food services and special education. The superintendent is also attending PTO meetings in an impromptu manner with Lincoln Hubbard and Brighton school districts visited so far. The meeting was adjourned at 12:20. There's no recommendations at this time. Our next meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, January 7th at 12 noon. Any additions from committee members or questions from other board members? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Cohn. And the negotiations committee did not meet this month. Are there any liaison reports?
SBF met earlier this December, and I have 3 things to report. 1, annual funds are down $38,000 currently, but efforts are being made for additional donations to be brought in. Their communications team is working on a mailer to go out to the community this January to continue sharing how SCF is supporting our district. If you haven't been getting their monthly emails, they are showcasing what's happening in all the schools, and they're very, very detailed, so I highly recommend reading them. And as you learned tonight, the fall grant cycle closed with the approval of 34 grants totaling $175,929, covering all schools in the district and all categories. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Stanton. And with that, we will move to our public comment.
Good evening, everybody. Public comment is now open for items both on and not on the agenda. Anyone wishing to speak shall first seek recognition by the presiding officer. Please come to the microphone and state your name and address in a clear, audible tone for the record. Please direct all comments to the board president and not an individual member of the board. And please remember to conduct yourself with decorum and respect when speaking and addressing the board. Unless additional time is granted by the board president, please keep your comments to 3 minutes or less. In addition, please note that this portion of the meeting is for public comment and not meant to be a back and forth. Board members and administration will not respond to questions or comments at this time. However, information will be provided by the appropriate individual as soon as possible.
My name is Stephanie Gould. I'm at 24 Webster Avenue, Summit, New Jersey. I noticed that you said you weren't going to comment, but how do we get on your minutes right after break for BNC? It mentioned HIB and the investigations that were done by the superintendent, and the paperwork is in his office, and it was clearly shown to you what investigations happened. How do we get that if our child was part of one of those investigations?
It's procedure, so it's easy for me to answer. So after the board approves the HIB investigations, you'll get a letter from my office about whether or not it was founded or not, the investigations.
And just, thank you for answering my question. I guess the other thing is, what if we don't agree with you?
There is an appeal process, which is outlined in the letter that you'll get. And then there's mechanisms for you to have discussions with the board.
And how long do we have to wait for this letter?
It has to go out by statute within 5 days of this board meeting.
Thank you very much for your
Okay.
We are closing our public comment, and may I have a motion?
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
Next item is approval of our November 14th board minutes. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Our next agenda item is curriculum instruction and program, items A and B. May I have a motion?
You have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Ms. Stanton? Yes. Mr. Miecha? Yes. Ms. Kelly? Yes. Ms. Erde? Yes. Mr. Cho? Yes. Vice President Cohen?
Yes.
President Justice?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Our next item is finance, items A through X. May I have a motion?
Can I have a second, please? Thank you. Is there any discussion? Ms. Stanton? Yes. Mr. Miecha?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes.
Ms. Erde? Mr. Cho?
Yes.
Vice President Cohen?
Yes.
President Justice?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Next item, school board operation, items A through C. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes. Yes, I have a question.
Yep, go ahead, Mr. Miecha.
Is this the approval of the audit reports?
Yes.
We're approving to accept them. That's
Correct.
it?
Yes, that's it. That's what we have to, by statute, we have to approve to accept them because they have to be, they were already submitted to the state, but we have to make sure that the approval and everything is done by this month.
Thank you. Oops, thank you. Sorry about that. I do notice that the reports are addressed to the members of the board. The reports were issued on October 28th, but this is the first time that I get the reports? Is there a reason for the delay?
Yes, because even though the letter is dated in October, we didn't receive the reports till the end of November. And the practice has been that before the entire board gets them, they go to the operations committee. The operations committee has the opportunity to meet with the auditors to hear what their findings, if any, were, to hear how the audit process has gone. Once the the operations committee has had the opportunity to have that presentation, then we provide them to the rest of the board.
Thank you. But the reports were issued on October 28th, or they weren't?
Now, that's the date of the letter. We were issued the reports in November, and then we uploaded them to the state website.
Like, it says here that the report was issued on October 28th and with all of the feedback. This information wasn't available on October 28th?
No, I did not have the, even though that's the date of the letter, we received the report after that, but that is the date of the letter that they sent that to printing. So the auditors finished their letter, they sent it to their printer to be bound. And then once it's all bound and complete, like you have now, they send that to us.
Okay. So is there an opportunity in the future that we get these reports before the day that we're voting on accepting them?
I'm, as just a member of the Operations Committee, I would just note that the Operations Committee does review them, and we reviewed them last week, I believe, when we met, correct? That was, we had a meeting with the auditors. We had a chance to ask the auditors questions. So within the committee, we did review the audit. The Finance Committee did review the audit with the auditors, and we had the opportunity to ask the auditors questions after the presentation by the audit firm.
Thank you.
Just as again, on the Ops Committee, I do think Mr. Manager's suggestion would probably be helpful on major activities, whether it's the audit or the budget. If there is more time, obviously the hard copy we got tonight, but if there is like this, the day of or a digitized copy, I think that would be good to send to all board members as soon as it's available. Would be my suggestion. Thank you.
Thank you.
Last question. If there's something that I have a question on, though, what's the process?
So if you have a question on anything that's in the audit, you can reach out to myself and to Mr. Huff, and then we will answer your question.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Or, I mean, Board Member Mahika, you also could have talked to the Operations Committee Chairperson when you got the minutes agenda earlier today. But the usual practice, as noted by Board Member Cohen, is that certain things are delegated to the different committees, whether it's education, operations, and policies and such, and then the minutes are circulated to all the board members. Ideally, sufficient time ahead of the meeting, and the board members can review it, and if you choose to need more information, you should check and consult with either the committee chairperson or direct your questions to Superintendent Huff and such.
Yeah. Thank you.
The general practice is certain things are approved at the committee level and recommended to the board to approve or accept. If you feel you don't have the information before that time board meeting, then obviously you can choose to abstain or vote no based on the information you have at hand. But again, the practice would be to work through the committee chairperson for more follow-on questions.
Right. And back in 1996, I got my CPA license. When reports are issued, they're available. If this report is dated October 28th and it's been signed off by the auditors and it's made addressed to the board members, it should be made available to the board members more than, 6 weeks, 2 months that we've had since. So I'm just requesting that in the future, please, more timely information be made to the board when it's available. That's based on the date. I'm aware of all the other procedures. Thank you.
And at this time, may I have a motion?
We have the motion, we have the second. Is there any other discussion? Ms. Stanton?
Yes.
Mr. Maicha?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes.
Ms. Erde? Mr. Cho?
Yes.
Vice President Cohen?
Yes.
President Justice?
Yes.
Motion carries.
And we'll move to personnel.
Inclusive of the addendum and the revisions, please.
Yes. Items A through L, including the addendum. May I have a motion?
Second.
You guys are on fire tonight. Is there any discussion? Ms. Stanton?
Yes.
Mr.
Sorry,
Maicha?
apologies. I just had one quick question on item Q. Just wanted to make sure I understood the approval. Is the coverage for the class vacated by a special education teacher, is that teacher moving to the role of interim math supervisor? Is that how that reads?
Yeah, so we have some interim administrative positions throughout the district, so then we have to cover and backfill that teacher's class schedule, correct? And within the contract, there is a mechanism to do that with the existing teachers rather than hiring an outside teacher.
Okay, but the special education teacher is qualified to be a math supervisor.
Oh, yeah.
That's, okay. Thank you so much for clarifying.
Ms. Stanton? Yes. Mr. Maecha?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes.
Ms. Urde? Yes. Mr. Cho?
Yes.
Vice President Cohen?
Yes.
President Justice?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Next is policy and regulations, our first reading and second reading. May I have a motion? So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Ms. Stanton?
Yes.
Mr. Maecha?
Yes.
Ms. Kelly?
Yes.
Ms. Urde?
Yes.
Mr. Cho?
Yes.
Vice President Cohen?
Yes.
President Justice?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, and now we're going to move to executive session.
Right, so there's a need for the board to go into executive session this evening, so we're going to have two motions. The first is whereas pursuant to NJSA 10:4-12B, the Board of Education may exclude the public from that portion of a public meeting wherein the board discusses any of the matters set forth at NJSA 10:4-12B, items 1 through 9. Now therefore be it resolved that in accordance with the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act, the Board of Education shall conduct a closed session pursuant to the provision of NJSA 10:4-12B for the purpose of discussing the following matters covered by attorney-client privilege. It is anticipated the length of time of the executive session will be 60 minutes, give or take. Action will not be taken in public after the executive session. So can we have a motion to go into executive session, please?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Urde, seconded by Cohen. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? So moved. And may we have, since the board will not be returning, can we have a motion to adjourn, please?
Second.
Wow. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? So moved. We are adjourned. Happy holidays.